Good morning, my soil sisters and soil brothers. I got my Not Today Heifer shirt on, and guess what? Got my glasses on so I could do it's yard day, so I can weed eat the yard. Guess what the weed eater said today? Not today, Heifer. It would not start for me. So I decided to go ahead and shoot a video while my husband's working in the front of the yard. But I have come up on some new pests. I have this thing called a Asian lady beetle. It's a ladybug, but if you look at the top of his head, it has an M on it. Cause I was excited. I was like, oh, I got ladybugs in the garden. They're gonna come and eat all the aphids. No, they were trying to eat my roses. So I got some diatomaceous earth, and I told her, not today, heifer. You're not gonna eat up my garden. But anyway, with that aside, I was just want to show y'all my tomatoes. The tomatoes are doing really well. The tomatoes are doing well. They're setting fruit. But I just want to show y'all some things. When you're growing tomatoes, it's good to prune them, especially if you're growing them in a raised bed. You don't want them to have all these leaves on the bottom. So what you do is you want to prune that off. And what it helps is it helps to have good airflow with your tomatoes, and it also allows the tomato to focus its energy on producing the fruit instead of trying to supply all its energy to all the leaves, the leaf growth. Now some people prefer the single stem method. I'm kind of all over the place because this is my soil laboratory, and it's my garden, and I kind of do what I want to do in here. But yeah, make sure that you prune the bottom at least about 6 inches off the bottom of your plant. So you're not sacrificing anything. You're just, you're making your plant a little bit more healthy, and you're helping your fruit. So back to the fruit again. Here we go. San Marzano's putting on some tomatoes. The Romas are doing really, really good. Can't remember all these names. Let's see. Sunrise Bumblebee. We got a couple of little baby tomatoes on here. This is a cherry tomato. And beefsteak is slacking, but it'll be okay. And then out here, let's cross our fingers and toes that my signal doesn't go out. The kiddie pool is doing amazing. So, I mean, I have found this year my 2 favorite growing methods that I have experimented with was kiddie pool gardening, and that is, you can do it a couple of ways. So the kiddie pool, I have grow bags or recyclable shopping bags in it, which is the same thing for me. And I have them sitting in the kiddie pool, and I have a overflow hole, which is about 2 inches up, and it allows about an inch and a half of water to sit in the pool. Well, they self-wick, and you see how pretty and green they are? And then back in the back, that's crazy berry back there. Barry's crazy tomatoes, they grow in huge clusters. Let me see if I can get back there. Look at those clusters. That is amazing. I'm like, wow, it lived up to what it was saying. We got a lot of things going to seed in the garden, trying out some new things. A good friend of mine told me, hey D, why don't you try a soaker hose, life-saving. I watered the garden yesterday and it's still hydrated. So this is a keeper, and I'll be buying another one for the other bed. And then the other bed, I've been doing more experimentation. You see those water bottles? Those water bottles, vinegar bottles, whatever kind of bottle you have, they have little bitty pinholes at the bottom of it, and it allows the water to weep out slowly. And I have a little diluted fertilizer in it. So it's fertilizing the plants. Now my squash, they were looking really bad. I had to go and prune them. They had some virus on them or whatever. And I said, you know what? I'm going to use the wisdom from last year. My okra had a virus on the leaves. So what I did is I waited till another set of leaves formed that were healthy. And then I cut the bad leaves off. I did the same thing to the squash. And once I did that and I started the little irrigation thing, they did fabulous, no problem. They popped up. You saw the extra leaves on it. There's some fruit setting at the bottom. And this is my baby. My Cherokees, they showing out. Let me show you how big they are. Man, this water wicking thing is the bomb. So they're full of flowers, they're set with tomatoes and everything. So it is amazing. This is definitely a do again thing. And also the pepper bed. The peppers are doing amazing in the oil pans. This is definitely a repeat thing. I think for my winter garden, I'm going to focus more on the wicking pots and the oil pans because I want to give the gardens like a refresh. So I have, you know, I got enough stuff where I can give the gardens a refresh. Excuse me. We all out here cutting grass and doing stuff, making noise. Where I can let the gardens rest over the winter time. I can reorganize them because I square foot garden. Let me see if I can show you my grid. So my grid here, you see the little string? That tells me where my square is and where I can plant. And a square foot method is a really cool way of growing a lot of things in a small space. So every space is not filled. You can, but with the squash you need air. So what I did is I left some open so that the squash will not be just compacted in the soil, and you know, no airflow, because when you don't have airflow, you open it up to viruses. You also open it up to a lot of infestation because they just easily jump from plant to plant when you have too many things crowded in the garden. So that's pretty much my update. Lastly, we'll show you the trigemicide that we sowed. It is doing really well. I already harvested the one in the garden. I took it up because it was going to seed. This flower bed over here is partially shaded, so it didn't get as much sunlight. Got some peas growing. Learned a little bit about peas, so I applied it, and here are my peas. I found out that the peas that I winter sowing peas is not a good idea. They say they don't like their roots disturbed. So, you know, I'm learning. And then the beets over here, and the beets go on. This is the shadier part of the garden. So I added some nitrogen to it because I went over to Luke from MI Gardener, and he was saying, you know, they need nitrogen. I said, okay, I'm learning because I never grew beets before. But that's pretty much my garden update. Let me go see if this heifer, the weed eater, will start and I can finish weed eating my yard. Y'all have a blessed day. Thank you.